dance in the shadows. At the school prom, under flickering lanterns, two lovers, Emily and Jake, decided to share their last dance. But this dance turned out to be unlike anything they had imagined. Their bodies swayed to the rhythm of a slow waltz, their eyes fixed on each other. Yet in the dark shadows at the edge of the hall, they noticed a strange figure. A person in a black cloak watched them, their eyes ominously gleaming. Emily and Jake chose to ignore the presence and continued dancing. However, the music grew louder, and suddenly they found themselves in another world. The hall vanished, replaced by a dimly lit forest. They decided to move forward, hoping to find an exit, but each step became more eerie. Trees concealed dark secrets and the wind whispered warnings. They realized they had stumbled into a trap, a living, breathing realm of fear and mystery. The man in the black cloak continued to follow Emily and Jake like a shadow, always at a distance. His silent presence enveloped them, as if an invisible veil shrouded them. Emily, with trembling in her heart, saw the ghosts of her parents who had died in a car accident. They stood before her, their faces radiating tenderness and longing. She heard their whispers, calling her to them. Jake, stern and silent, heard the voice of his deceased brother, the one he had lost in childhood due to a tragic accident. The voice was faint but clear, as if his brother stood right beside him. They ventured deeper into the forest and finally reached the heart of this mysterious place. There, among ancient trees, stood an altar. It was hewn from black stone and emitted a strange energy. The man in the black cloak invited them to the altar. His eyes were hidden beneath the hood, but his hands were cold and lifeless. He explained that they were in a world where fears and secrets took shape. To return home, they needed to make a sacrifice. Emily and Jake exchanged glances. They knew the choice wouldn't be easy. The sacrifice could be physical or spiritual, yet they were willing to go all the way to return to their world. After all, their destinies had intertwined here, in the heart of the forest, and they couldn't remain there forever. So they stood before the altar, ready to make their choice. But what would they decide? What sacrifice would they offer to return home? It was the most difficult decision of their lives, yet they were determined. Their fates rested in their hands, and they couldn't turn back. Emily chose to make a physical sacrifice. She removed her pendant with an image of her parents and placed it carefully on the altar. The pendant had been a precious gift from them. Jake, on the other hand, decided on a soulful sacrifice. He closed his eyes and remembered his brother, the one he had lost in childhood due to a tragic accident. In his heart, he released the fear, bitterness, and guilt he had carried all these years. It was his deepest secret, and he was ready to let it go. And so, they both made their choice. The sacrifices were offered, and the man in the black cloak raised his hands. Something strange began to happen around them. A whirlwind of energy enveloped them. Their world started dissolving, and they felt their essences intertwining with this enigmatic place. In the next moment, they vanished from that world, leaving only the altar and the man in the black cloak. They returned home, but what had they left behind? Memories, fears, secrets all remained in the heart of the forest, in the realm where they made their choice. Emily and Jake opened their eyes and surveyed their surroundings. They stood on a familiar street, yet something was amiss. Houses looked different, and passers-by were strangers. "We've come home," Emily said, her voice uncertain. Jake nodded. "Yes, but it's not the world we expected." The man in the black cloak disappeared, as if dissolving into thin air. They were alone amidst familiar yet unfamiliar streets. "What have we done?" Emily asked. Jake sighed. "We made a choice. Now we'll have to live with it." And so they remained in this world where fears and secrets took shape, but they were together, and that was what mattered most.